What's going on, people? Welcome to another live match reaction. It has been a while since I've said those words, but we are back to react to Palace's second preseason game against Crawley Town, a 6-3 win. There is a lot to talk about, especially from the first half to the second half. People talking about players are washed, players are great. I mean, we've got all types of the spectrum in this game. As always, if you do enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and most importantly, get involved in the live chat and let us know your thoughts on the game as we talk about it. I'm joined by T and Patrick here. T, how you doing, man? Patrick disappeared last second.
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
You enjoy the game?
Yeah, it was a good match, man. Showed a lot of positives, man. We looked really, really bright in the beginning. Great pressing, sharing the ball, finishing. Thought it was fantastic. I mean, we had some downsides, but you know, it's to be expected. It's preseason. We got people that aren't totally up to speed. But overall, yeah, man, I thought it was a good performance.
Patrick, you literally just came in a watch along last second. So you was watching the game, you was watching the watch along as well. Yeah, Nick done that for about 2 hours for the majority of the game. And I think it was a game of two halves, right? I think we can all agree on that. I think the first half to the second half was a different kind of contest. Let's start off with the first half. I think in the first half, the lineup was very strong. The players that we had out there. Raksaki started, which was key. Richards and Anderson are back. Decore starting the game after coming off the bench. So I mean, there was some very good moments. I enjoyed the watch along, especially in the first half, because literally started the watch along. Oh goal! Like at that rate, I thought it was going to be like 90-0, scoring a goal every other minute. Then afterwards, it stabilized a bit. But for you, Patrick, I mean, the first half. Edward, Kamada, Raksaki. Where do you want to start? I'll give it over to you because there's a lot to talk about in the first half.
Yeah, I thought the lineup was solid for this time of the year. You know, we are missing, the likes of Henderson, Eze, Wharton, Gahey, Mateta, Lerma, Munoz, França, possibly Sarr. So there's about 9 players that aren't there. So I was happy with the lineup. I mean, I thought Kamada, Raksaki, and Edward did very well up front. I thought the pressing was excellent, created a lot of opportunities early on. I thought Hughes and Decore in the midfield did really good job. So it was great. You're right. They scored those 2 quick goals. I thought Raksaki had a very good half again. I'll reiterate again. I don't see the point in sending him out on loan. I don't see the point in trying to sell him. I'm not saying he's a replacement, but I think he can definitely go in there, give us quality performances. And you have Kamada, you're going to have Sarr, you're going to have Ayi, you're going to have Eze, hopefully. France. You don't need to go out and get another player, like we said in the past. Go get another striker and possibly a right wing back. Even though I actually have to say, jumping quickly to the second, I thought Frankie Uma did a good job on the right side. I forgot he actually is kind of 2-footed. He played on the right side wing back, but he can play left side obviously. So I thought overall performances are good. Kamada honestly looked like a very, very, very good signing. He knows the system. He's very good on the ball. He's very composed. The finish to go around the keeper was class. So I thought Edward did a good job. Good goal taking. So I thought overall, good performance today. Now some slip ups, obviously, but nothing major to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, literally some slip ups.
Literally a step on the ball and slip up.
Exactly. It was like thank God it was a preseason game rather than a Premier League game, because I mean we can laugh about it now, but yeah, it was just funny. It was funny. That happened in the second half, of course. But for me, T. I mean, let's start off with what Spiritual saying. Jez in the house is only right. Brush over it. We'll talk about Edward and other players as well. But he started today. Goals, performance, overall, everything. Class. Is this... I'm going to ask this question. I don't agree with it, but I'm going to ask it. Are we looking at Jez playing against Charlton and Crawley Town, League One opponents, and getting carried away? Or... are you seriously considering now, and should the club seriously consider Jez being that backup option to Kamada and stay in the squad, who has been linked with, as you know, in Palace News episodes, with a move away from the club?
I think Jez is making it a tough decision. He is making it. He's making a real case for himself to be considered for staying with the club. I mean, the thing we have to consider is that the last two performances came against League One opponents, which we would expect him to do that against. But if he keeps it up, man, and when he's going on the U.S. tour, and he's gonna be playing against Premier League quality teams. If he keeps it up, plays at a high level, yeah, he's making a case for us to keep him around. And I can't say that it's a bad case. I think it's a really good case at this point. So it's a tough decision for the club for sure.
I mean, what else can he do, Patrick? That's my point. What else can Jez do at this moment of time? I mean, he's given an opportunity. He's taken an opportunity. He's looked good coming off the bench as well for us in the past. And we literally need a player in his position. But what else could Jez do to prove a point?
At this point, he can do no more. But as T said, he'll be coming to America. He'll play against Wolves and West Ham Premier League opponents and see how he does then. But as far as preseason, he could do no more. Like I said, I put it out funny today on social media as a joke, but if he was at Southampton with the championship, had done well last year in the championship with Southampton, was doing well preseason, we'd be like, oh, that kid at least there at Southampton, we should go out and buy him. He's a good player, you know what I mean? It's like it's
right.
strange.
And that was a really good point. That was a really good point, Patrick, because I thought about it, I was like, damn.
And now we have it. We're looking to loan or sell him. I don't understand the logic. But it's what I'll say again, right? Nick made a great point during the watch along. You can't take everything you hear in the media as gospel. So something might have come out as far as him wanted to go, blah blah. Who knows, right? But it's what I'll say is, I think the club's pretty smart, especially Duggan, especially Glasner, especially the manager. This is not Roy Hodgson, who last year just messed that kid up. If Glasner says he should go out on loan or should sell him, I'll be honest with you, I won't be happy, but I'll go for it. But I have a funny feeling that Glasner's way too smart for that. And we'll see something like it and say, you know what? I want to give him a try. And if he doesn't work out, maybe January loan. But I got a funny feeling he's sticking around. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it would maybe like opinions can change, of course, as he's played more games against Charlton and today against Crawley Town, and he looked like one of our standout players. I mean, maybe Glasner could change his opinion and say, you know what? Let me just give him a go. And I think it would make everyone happy. Because, look, the championship loan move makes sense to the degree that he will be playing 90 minutes week in, week out. But ideally, you want him to play that 90 minutes week in, week out so he could have an impact as a Premier League player. But my point is, I think he can already have an impact as a Premier League player. Maybe he might not be playing week in, week out, but I think he's already on that level. So, yes, the championship loan move would help him because, of course, playing football against... I mean, the championship is not an easy league. It is not an easy league against quality opponents and it being very difficult and demanding. That would be good for his development. But also what would be best for his development is if he actually plays Premier League football, which I think he will do because as we've seen from Glasner's system last season and as we're seeing in pre-season, it is very demanding in terms of the press. The goals that we scored all came, majority of them came down from the press. So, and I think Rak-Sakyi could do a job coming off the bench. I think this is the perfect opportunity for him. And, you know, Ismail Assar, as we spoke about, he's going to be a versatile player, so he can play multiple different positions. So, for me, I don't think he's got anything else to prove. I think he's kind of proven himself. Maybe in a US tour, we might be looking at how he does against West Ham and Wolves, and maybe that is the next step for him. But I don't know about you, T, but I think we are seriously considering keeping him at the football club as well. There's a bit of me that thinks that. The reason for that is the interest is there. It has been there for a while, but he's the one that hasn't gone out on loan. Taylor's gone out on loan. Imre's gone out on loan. Ozo's gone out on loan. And with Rak-Sakyi, he's starting pre-season games. So I think we're still in the decision-making process, but sooner rather than later, that conclusion will happen because, you know, if he performs like this, surely we just keep him at the football club.
And here's another thing to consider that from the jump really had me thinking. They could have started Jordan Ayew in that right-sided 10 spot.
True.
They didn't. They started Jez and brought Jordan off of the bench. Like, you know, is that an indication of something? You know what I mean?
That's a very good point.
You know, so I mean, maybe it's to a point where, like you said, Glasner's smart enough to see that this kid is more ready than what people are saying, and that he's ready to slide in and maybe be in that backup role. And then in that case, you're just moving to Jordan Ayew to where you saw him today, maybe to a third choice striker role, and using his versatility once again and finding other places for him, because you bring a guy like Sarr into the mix and his versatility too. So you got a lot of, I guess what you would say, quote unquote, plug and play options with some guys, depending on what the need is at the time. But as things stand, it seems like Jez could really be in that running to be that backup spot. And it's just a case of, do you want him to get those probably 15 to 20 appearances in the Premier League with, a few spot starts here and there, or do you want him to get that championship experience with starting 30 some odd matches and playing a lot? Like I said, it's a tough decision for sure.
Mm-hmm. For me, I'm leaning now more towards it. The fact that he hasn't gone out on loan, the fact that he's performing like this, I'm leaning more towards that hope that he actually stays at the football club and kicks on. But I mean, there's a lot of players to talk about, but I thought it would be right to start off with Jez. Edouard today, started the game off very well. In terms of, for me, I thought maybe this is the barrier for Edouard, or maybe I'm a bit negative on him. I thought he was like genuinely up for it today in terms of his pressing. Like, he was up for it, especially at the start of the game. He scored a goal as well. But still, despite that, Patrick, there were still question marks on whether we keep Edouard or not. I mean, look, some people are saying he's not good enough. And for me, I think it all depends on how Glasner views him. I mean, today's goal was good. I think he had an assist as well, goal and an assist, which was good from him. That's what you want from a striker. But I just don't know if it fits Glasner's system. I just don't know that. Like, I'm trying to take a step back and look at Edouard under Glasner last season, Edouard as a player before Glasner, and Edouard right now. And I just don't know if it's that piece. And we need to make sure we get this right with the strike options, because Mateta by itself next season, yes, it was great last season, but he needs actual depth options that could push him. So the Edouard situation gets a bit tricky, especially with the club considering selling him as well.
Yeah, for me, the issue is Mateta will most likely not be around for at least the first two matches, being at the Olympics. So you got Brentford and probably West Ham he won't be there for. I'd rather have an Edouard who's been part of the system since January and knows Glasner, have him start those matches as opposed to get a striker, an unknown striker, just to go in there. I don't know if it works for Eddie under Glasner's system. I want to see more. I need to see more. You mentioned during the watch-along, someone asked you, he didn't start a game last year under Glasner, so we don't even know how he would play for 90 minutes under Glasner. We don't know. Listen, I didn't think Mateta was going to fire under Glasner the way he did, and look what he did. So who knows? But the only issue for me, obviously, is the value of Eddie if he doesn't sign another contract. This is the last year of a contract, right? Is it last year? This is last year going into, I believe. Or maybe he has another year after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can double check that while I'm talking.
Right, but that would be the only issue, is like if you're going to sell him, what you get for him. Because at this point now, again, the striker market is very difficult right now. And to get someone in as opposed to just keeping Eddie, I'd be more on the side of keeping Eddie right now than going out and spending money on a striker, which you don't know how he's going to do when he gets here.
T, are you agreeing with Patrick there in terms of trying to keep Eddie there? Because he has scored goals in the Premier League. That's a funny thing. And that's why I think Premier League clubs would be interested in Eddie. Maybe we're getting a bit too, I don't know what's the word to use, excited at the prospect of another striker. But ideally, you want a striker who can score in the Premier League. And Eddie has proven that. Like, he can find a goal in the Premier League. Maybe at times he can be a bit off the pace, or maybe he doesn't contribute elsewhere. But ideally, from a striker, you want him to score goals. And he has done that. So why? And I asked this question to Nick as well. Why are we not so against Eddie, but why is there these question marks over Eddie then? Like, he has proven that he can score goals, but people still question whether he's the right man for us to be backup options for Mateta.
I mean, being completely honest with you, man, he's a high quality backup. If Edouard is your number two, that's a pretty good situation, I think. Because if we stand to move him to another club somewhere, not necessarily in the Premier League, maybe a lower side of the Premier League, but to other teams, he stands to be a starter in other leagues, other places. You know what I mean? So I think he's a high quality backup option. Being completely honest, I think the reason why people are so hard on him is because of the consistency piece. You know what I mean? And it's been tough for him, you know, because I think when he's gotten in a rhythm and he's gotten a little bit of consistency going, he always gets hurt, and that affects, you know, how he comes back and how his seasons go and things. But I mean, as far as just a pure backup option, he's a pretty good backup option. Now, I think part of it is how much he costs. He's expensive. He's an expensive backup at this point too. So
I did a little research. Easy to do when you have your phone in front of you. He actually started the first game on the glass in the Burnley match because remember, Eze and Olise were both injured, so he started in the front three with Ayew and Mateta. So he started that first game with the 3-0 game. So he has started on the glass, and so again, clearly showing the glass doesn't hate him. But like I said, when Eze and no, I'm just saying when Eze and Olise were fit, he didn't start over that. I'm just saying, but he did. I didn't know he started an actual game. I didn't realize that he started one game, but yeah, and won the game, and he played well in that game. So,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
I mean, he's not a bad.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that, T. Like you just like randomly whilst Patrick was talking, you
tried to kill a fly, right? Is that a fly?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a mosquito.
Like, is everything good? Yeah, and then you're not losing your mind over like Edward.
No.
If it's over Edward, we can move on. Like it's fine. Like
Edward,
he's absolutely losing over Edward. Patrick is talking about him. Just wanted to make sure, like it's fine. It's only Edward. Like we can move on. Yeah. Just it's a problem. Nothing bad's gonna happen. But yeah, look, people have suggested him being as like a potential number 10 option. I disagree. I just don't.
Not compared to the guys that we already have.
And not even just that. Like, even if we didn't have the guys, I just feel like he's very, I don't know how to describe him. I feel like he can score goals when he's given a chance in front of goal. Like, you can rely on that. Like, you would expect him to score a goal. But when you expect him to create or run past defenders and use his skill, I think he's a bit too rigid. I don't know how to describe him. He hasn't really got that flair in him. Like, he's a bit...
When you watch it, it feels like when he goes into that position, like, when he starts at the 10 or he's playing in that position of the 10, he's going to look like a striker trying to play in the 10 role rather than looking like somebody who has acumen to playing that type of position.
Yeah. Abdul saying bring back Roy.
Well, he listened to you and me talk pre-match. That's what D said. D said he wanted to bring Roy back. He must have heard our conversation with pre-match.
I mean, Abdul knows what Abdul knows what he's talking about, which is good.
Yeah, Abdul, I hope we don't have to block you, bro. My God.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Kamala, we spoke about Raksaki, we spoke about Edward, spoke about Decore started. Will Hughes, I mean, Decore and Will Hughes, both very good in midfield, but Will Hughes is continuing that form from last season. But for me, I'm not changing my stance. I still think Adam Walter starts. But do we think that Will Hughes is becoming that player that comes off the bench? And when we talk about midfield options, because we've got a few options that we could technically bring off the bench. Hamada, Will Hughes, Ozil's going out on loan, of course, but depending on where Kamada starts as well. But for us, Will Hughes, is he become that number six man, as they say, in NBA? He's going to be
because you're going to have Lerma.
Lerma.
Oh yeah, Lerma as well. Yeah.
But I think the thing that we do see from Will Hughes that's great for us is we can have full confidence in him whenever he gets put out there. We have confidence that he can do the job, that he can play well, that we can still succeed as a group, as a team with him out there.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm sorry. I just did a little more research. Apparently, according to Transfer Market, do you trust Transfer Market, D?
Well, it is pretty reliable website.
So they have his contract expiring June 30th, 2025.
That's Mitchell's contract wrong. And
okay, so then that's why I'm asking, because I don't really know where to go for that stuff.
I use Spotrac too. I use both. Look at both of those. Spotrac had the same with you talking about Edward.
Right.
Yeah. Edward's contract, they said it was June 2025.
So it runs out next year.
It makes sense. It would have been a 4-year contract then when he
4-year contract from 2021 when he came in.
It makes sense.
Then is that why we're seeing potentially club looking to sort Edward more than the Glasner option? Because I think that contract, you don't want it to lose for free, right? So I mean,
And
maybe
you could
things
get him
like
at a discounted price because he only got a year left.
Yeah. That's
That's why I think
you
he's
missed
going to
that.
move. That's why I think he's going to move, because now is probably one of the best times to try and get him
Well,
before having to. But then
if it's
at the same time,
happening,
if he hits
when would you do?
free agency, if he hits the free agent market, you got to compete with every team. You know what I mean? Which is a thing in itself. So it's like you could probably get a really talented guy for far less than what he's worth.
Yeah, and I wonder if that contributes to his price tag as well. I mean, that's gone under the radar. I'll be honest, Edward's contract situation. I didn't think he only had a year left on his deal. So saying that, I think that complicates the situation even further in terms of do we sell him or not? Because if we're not selling him, then he needs a new contract. And we haven't given him a new contract from all we know, unless we have behind closed doors, which I don't think we have. And that's why we're
I would have heard something. I'm guessing.
So, I mean, that's going to be one to look out for. Klein, he played that right wing back. Should we quickly talk about him? I'm not going to talk about each and every single player. I want to go through that key important moments. In fact, let's talk about it, man. Let's move on to the second half. Because the second half, the game did change. There are a few other players that came on, and there were comments in the live watch along saying Ward, Klein, and a few other players. Why do we still have, these deadwoods in our team? Are we being a bit too harsh in terms of some of these players and how we view them, or?
All right, so I did some a workup of our squad so far. So we right now have 28 players in our squad. So that includes obviously 19 players today, plus the 9 players, like I mentioned before, that are missing: Henderson, Eze, Wharton, Gahey, Mateta, Lerma, Munoz, France, and then possibly Sarr. There's a 25 squad limit, right? And 5 of those players are under 21. So we would actually have spaces for 2 players if we didn't sell anybody. All right. That would do that. So people are talking about selling players and moving players on, but we've got that deadwood comment. You're going to need players. You don't need all of them. You need veterans in the squad. You need a Holding. You need Ward. You need Hughes. You need Ayew. You need Schlupp. You don't need all of them. You need about 5 or 6 veteran players in that squad, because you cannot have a bunch of Riads and Whartons, much as I love them, and Umes and Ahamas. It doesn't really work. So I don't really think we have a lot of deadwood. I'm not saying we couldn't get rid of maybe 2 players, but again, the squad right now is actually fine, because numbers wise, because we have, again, if Uma, Riad, Eboué, Wharton, or France to make the squad, which most of them will, besides maybe Eboué, they're under 21 players. So the squad isn't like filled. So I'm not really sure. And again, you just mentioned before about Hughes. Hughes now becomes like the 4th midfielder behind Wharton, Decore, and Lerma. He dropped down. Ayew now becomes the 3rd or 4th choice at either right midfield or left midfield. Schlupp, honestly, isn't even a conversation to play. He isn't. Klein is the backup to Munoz. Ward is the backup to Riad, Anderson, Gahey, and Richards. You know what I'm saying? That they're not. My point is, we're not going to see them. You know what I mean? So I don't know why people are getting hung up on this deadwood thing. When we have our full squad back and we add maybe a couple more players, you're not going to see them, barring, God forbid, some major injuries. So I'm not really worried about this so quote unquote deadwood thing, because again, I think our squad is pretty decent. Yes, a left wing back. Well, not Ume looked fine today. A right wing back option would be nice, and a striker backup if we get rid of Edward. But honestly, I think the squad building so far has been pretty decent for this squad that we have right now.
And I think that's the most important point, is that we're not going to, well, hopefully we don't see them, with all due respect. And I don't think we will. As it's like a 25-man squad. Right. Even with the centre-back option, people spoke about Klein and Ward being like a centre-back option. Realistically, no. Next season, but last season, yes, because we didn't have enough numbers. But for the upcoming season, I think that is, I mean, we didn't even have the numbers. Technically, Tompkins could have played centre-back, but the problem is Tompkins didn't have the legs. But what did we do? We replaced Tompkins with Riad. And now we have Gahey, Anderson, Richards. And if any of them were to leave, we would replace them. And on top of that, we have Holding and Riad. So, right. I mean, even if 2 out of the 3 defenders, which you'll get very unlucky, were injured, there's already 2 replacements there. So it would be very hard to see where Wardy or Kleiny go play at centre-back, or even Lerma. I'll say it, like, people talk about Lerma being a versatile player at centre-back. It'll be nice, but I don't see Lerma playing centre-back next season, because he's not a centre-back. He's done a very good job last season, but that's because we needed the numbers. But now we have kind of solved that depth issue. And even if there's cup games, I expect one of Richards, Anderson, or Gay to play, as well as the other two. So, yeah, I think we're fine there. But, T, for you, in terms of some of the players in the second half not being good enough, I mean, the pace did slow down. But do you think that was down to our players or Crawley just up in their game?
I really feel like it was our players in a lot of ways, man. But at the same time, like I said, we're talking about guys that are like your fifth and sixth choice center backs and, you know, forward options that are like third or fourth choice, you know. I mean, and then you could talk about the fact that somebody that's dead wood. I mean, Schlupp had a goal, you know. So I mean, you know, it's at the same. You got to take a lot of,
by the way.
Yeah,
Too, so,
you know what I'm saying. Ayew had a goal too. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
terrible.
Yeah,
Deadwood goal. That's awful.
I mean, you know, I mean, Ayew was a second chance on what should have been a very easy finish, but he scored. You know, so those things, like, you got to take those things with a grain of salt. Like, it's a preseason match. We dominated for the most part, and it's like, oh, you know, we need to replace Holding and Klein. It's like, bro, that's fifth and sixth choice. What are we talking about here? Like, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit of an overreaction, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, Adam was saying they had goals versus quality. To play devil's advocate, so did Jess and Edward. So, I mean, it's
so are Jess and Edward dead wood?
Yeah, like no, but then
exactly. Is Kamada dead wood?
I'm saying like they still performed when they had to perform in this game. I'm not saying that they are the solution, but
no, but what I'm saying is like what I'm saying is I don't think we should just. They're not absolutely disgustingly terrible because they still scored. You know, they score goals,
and we don't expect them to play next season.
Last year we beat Crawley 4-0. Remember who scored the goals last year against Crawley?
Don't even ask me.
Mateta had 2, Eze scored 1, and Hamada scored 1. How did Eze and Mateta play during the season? Were they rubbish play? I mean, I'm saying, I mean, it's Crawley. I get it, and we should beat them. But last year we beat them 4-0. Everyone was like, okay, great, we beat them. Eze had a great goal, by the way. Mateta had 2 goals, and then went on to have a really good season. So again, I understand what he's saying as far as the opponents, but again,
it's kind of an unfair. It's kind of an unfair catch-22. It's an unfair catch-22 because when a guy like Mateta has a double and Eze scores, they're like, oh, yeah, but it's against Crawley. But then when guys don't play so well, it's like, oh, we got to get rid of those guys. It's against Crawley. It's like, well, damn, do you play good? Do you play bad? Or do you just play in the middle and nobody says anything about you at all? I'm just wondering because the same guys that do well, it's like, oh, well, you know, yeah, Schlupp scored and Ayew scored, but we're playing against Crawley. Oh, crap, you know, Holding looked terrible and Ward looked terrible, and we're against Crawley. Like
last year, T. Remember, who had a hat trick against Plymouth last year? Was it Plymouth? Yeah, who had the hat trick against Plymouth? Who was it? Who made fun of him? Was it Mateta? I believe, right? It's only Plymouth. It's only Plymouth. I remember that man on the top left was making fun of the guy. Oh, it's only Plymouth. Oh, okay, you're right. But then he went on to have a hat trick against better teams. So
and he goes on to have the best season of his career in the Premier League.
So, I mean, I'm saying it's all relative. I mean, you haven't heard me go crazy about beating 46-3. I'm just saying that team is great, but it's all our perspective. Yes, let's not go crazy. But again, let's not kill players either. Let's not kill Anderson or kill Ward for making mistakes or kill Johnstone. I mean, it's Crawley. We get it. It's just the second preseason game. It's late July. It's hot out there. They're getting into shape. Let's not go crazy either way.
Blaming the weather.
Balance. No, if you talk about the mistakes, one of our quote unquote our debatably best center back made the worst mistake of the match. The worst mistake by far was on Joachim Anderson.
We got to get rid of him. He got to go. Get rid of him.
Yeah, he's got to go. He made that mistake against Crawley. Unbelievable.
But the thing is, I don't think anyways that some of these players will be having significant minutes next season anyways. That's why we're finding these depth players, and that's why we're trying to solve that problem. So, you know, they're good to have a 25-man squad. In the ideal world, you'll have 25-man squad with 25 starters. But in the real world, you're not going to have a squad as good as that because there's not going to be that many good players that's going to be coming to Paris on the bench. So as long as we have the first and second option and third option, first and second option in each position solid, which we don't have yet, not in all positions, then that is fine. The other positions, I mean, realistically, I mean, the third or fourth option, they won't realistically play. So yeah, I guess we'll see about that. Chadi Riad, I'll be honest. I mean, Joachim Andersen and Richards played. We will talk about them. But Riad is looking very good. I've been very impressed with him physically, his pace. He's never really looked off it. I wonder how he's played behind closed doors as well. Of course, he got subbed off today. But for me, we got a player who's, I think he's up there as fourth choice centre back behind Richards right now and Anderson Gahey as an option to come off the bench, or if there's any injuries, I think he'll be him next. I think he's kind of pushed Rob Holding to last spot. I think he looked very good, Patrick. I don't know about you. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah. I mean, he's the kind of player when he plays, you don't notice anything as far as a negative. He's very cool on the ball. I love that he's a very progressive passer. Hardly any passes go sideways and backwards. He's always looking to pass the ball forward. He's very controls, very good. And what I really like, he's left-footed. So he gives you that balance. So having him on the left side, having Anderson in the middle and Gahey on the right, even though Gahey likes to play on the left-hand side, he's right-footed. I think it's a great balance. I agree. He's he's probably going to be behind Richards, but I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be shocked if he got ahead of Richards by the start of the season. I'm not going to lie. I would not be shocked. He showed me that much so far. And
they're not going to play on the same side of the pitch.
Go on.
They're not going to. I think the reason why you won't see it is because he doesn't play on the same side of the pitch. It seems like Richards is going to be on that right side.
No, but my point is you can move Gahey to the right or Gahey to the middle and play Anderson on the right. Is my point.
I guess I think that depends on like their preference if Gahey wants to make that move or not. Because from what I hear, Gahey likes the left side.
Said he can play central. You're playing left and right. So central's just just as good. So
yeah.
So right.
T's favorite question. I'll let T answer this. Is Riad better than Richards?
I don't think so. Did y'all see that pass? That Rich, stop disrespecting Chris Richards. Did you see that assist he had in that game?
Kamada's goal. Yeah.
Stop disrespecting Chris Richards, bro. I'm telling you, man. What are y'all
he's
talking
American.
about,
He can't be any good. He's American. He can't be any good.
Hey, I'm trying to tell y'all keep disrespecting my man. I'm sorry, bro. I can't stand it.
Whilst we talk about Chris Richards and Riad, are these comparisons? Do we think is it going to go on for next upcoming season?
All season, 100%.
Eyes on Chris Richards now
until they have to play together because we lose Gahey.
You lot continue talking. I want to show something. But Alan's saying thought we could have scored more apart from Anderson's howler. Getting T come on. In terms of age, I mean, they both got potential. But let's see what happens with time, especially with Riad and how he develops. But I mean, by the time Gahey leaves, let's see. Maybe we might have a Gahey replacement already. You never know.
Just like last year when Richard would come in, I had no problem. If Riad was coming to a game, I'd have no problem with him coming in, and that's what you want to have. Riad comes in for anybody. I would be like, this is the. I mean, just saying. I love him.
I'll let you both answer because, of course, you're over in that side of.
I really believe that.
I truly believe it as well.
I do. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm English and I was born in England, but I've been here most of my life. And so I don't have any problem with American athletes. I obviously root for the American team. I have a kid that coaches on the USA team, Timothy Weah. So I know the players, but I think a lot of American players get disrespected for being American. I think it's a silly thing because the whole soccer,
which was a word created in English. It's an English word.
We're not doing this. I'm sorry. I'll come back. We're not doing soccer.
You're back already?
Hey,
I thought you were getting
might not want to do that. You might not want to do that because we got the facts. We got the facts.
Out of all the players that I could have.
Don't you dare show that shirt that I bought you. I bought you. Show it, guys. Show it.
Out of all the players I could have got my name on a kit or a number. I believe in Chris Richards, yeah.
My dog. Hey,
no one can talk to me about Chris Richards.
Next broadcast, I'm wearing my Chris Richards USA jersey just because I'm tired of this disrespect.
Yeah. I could have got Eze. I could have went with the crowd. I could have got Eze. I could have got Elise. I could have got everyone else. Chris Richards is here.
Number Chris Richards, 26.
You are class. I agree. You're class. Class shirt.
Exactly. So, based on that fact, I think Riad is going to be starting over Richard next season, and that includes nobody. And this is my evidence. My evidence is here. My evidence
This
is
is
here.
ridiculous.
Because I believed in it before.
What number is Riad, by the way? What number is Riad? I might get.
Well, he's worn 2 different numbers in the last 2 matches. He
What do you wear
wore
today? 20.
He wore 34 today.
Oh, okay. That's too high for me. I'd be lower than that. I need a number I need lower than that.
That's Martin Kelly's number. That should be retired.
I'm not wearing Ryan Kelly's number.
Number 34. Anderson wore number 5 as well.
It looked like Anderson might be changing to number 5.
Talking about Anderson, I mean, what a mistake. That was hilarious.
Hey, man, that was a rough one, man. That's what happens when you've been on holiday for so long.
Yeah. He's been on the drinks. I don't know what he's been doing. But the thing that makes it even more funny is that he literally, I think he got not told off by Will Hughes, but they had a conversation with Will Hughes right before that mistake. But I don't know, calming things down. Because Crawley, in the second half, Crawley were pressing us.
They were pressing, yeah.
They were.
And then what does it do? He goes and slips on the floor. Not even in the halfway line, right in front of the goal. And he doesn't even try to kick the ball. At this point, he
knew it was over with. He was so close. It's like, it's a wrap.
But it's good, though. It's good to see Richards and Anderson back, all jokes aside. Because we were talking about when some of these players will be coming back. They'll be in the American tour. And both of them, today, I don't think they had a bad game, really. Like, they were solid. Saying that, talk about the goals conceded. What was it then? I mean, 3 goals conceded against Crawley. Was it the subs in the second half?
The first goal was a banger. That first goal was a brilliant shot. I mean, that first goal was a banger. The other 2 were mistakes, but the first goal was a banger. It was a great shot by that kid. I think they said the kid he's played for Chelsea. Good player. But the other 2 were just mistakes. What was it? Ward a mistake on the third goal? Right? I think it was Ward made a mistake on the third goal.
He made a mistake on 2 of them, seemed like.
So. Yeah, he didn't pick up the runner. Do we? I mean, apart from the goals as well, I mean, they control the game a bit more as well, Crawley, in the second half, in comparison to the first half that I noticed. That's why they created a few more chances. Is it our standards dropping, or Crawley just being not absolutely terrible and looking like a half decent football side?
Good question. I mean, they seem decent. But I mean, I feel like it was our stuff. Like I feel like it was like I look at all 3 goals, and I can point to what we did glaringly wrong to give the goal up. So it's not like, I mean, good on Crawley to score them. Like the goal that the guy scored outside the box was a good goal. Like,
it's a great goal.
Don't take that away from him. But I think that if Joel Ward does a better job of actually, marking him and closing him down, he doesn't even get the shot off. But it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're home. They're further ahead by about a week or so as far as preseason training. And they don't, like you said, if they kept up the rate we're doing, we'd beat them like 90-0 if we kept scoring a goal a minute, which was in the first half. So they're gonna have to step up their effort in the second half. So it's the fact they scored 2 goals. They scored that early goal didn't shock me. Again, the other 2 goals were just silly mistakes. The first goal was a banging goal, but the second 2, like Alan said, they happen, and it's preseason. But they make them now in July, then later on in August, right? When we play in Brentford or Everton.
Now's the time to get that out your system.
Yeah. Even though it's preseason, better to get them out of the way now than we do against West Ham or Wolves, because when you're looking ahead to the next 2 games, I think that's going to be a bit of a more of a solid mark to look at, to see where we're at. I mean, I think we look decent today against Crawley, but we got a game coming up on Thursday, which, Patrick, I think you're attending to, right?
I will 100% be there. I will be at the training session and the open session before. On Tuesday, I'll be at the match Wednesday evening. If you're going to be there, anybody in Maryland, I will hopefully get to say hello. But yeah, I will definitely be there.
That'll be good. We've got Wolves first, which will be 1 a.m. UK time kickoff, which we'll be doing a watch along on here. We'll see if we can get any match.
1 a.m. D, set your alarm clock. Woo.
No, we got Wolves, and then we got West Ham at 12 a.m. on the 4th of August. In the Wolves game, Malcolm Ibue, I mean, there's no point doing a Palace news on this because we've done enough streams today. Apparently, there's a report suggesting that he is. In fact, there's an update. We'll combine this with Palace news because there's 2 bits of news that's come out after the game. One is on Malcolm Ibue, which I asked a question to Nick about him as well, seeing if he actually has a future at the football club. Because I mean, this preseason is not looking that great for him. He's come on for like 3 minutes against Crawley Town. Like he's just basically coming on, just getting minutes that is just given away for the sake of it.
We knew this about him a long time ago, though. To be honest,
but he has actually been reported with a move away from the club. According to Alan Nixon, Oxford United are keen on a loan deal. Sorry, Patrick just put me off. Oxford United are keen on a loan deal for Malcolm Obue. Crystal Palace will still have faith in the 20-year-old who has the chance to shine under the championship. Under the Oxford United manager in the championship. So yeah, I mean, apparently we still have faith in him. Are we surprised about that? He's linked with a move to Oxford United. It's not.
Do you know how old he is?
He just doesn't have any chances. I don't understand it.
Do you know how old he is?
20.
He's 20 years old. I mean,
I wouldn't give up on him by any means. Yeah, I wouldn't give up on him by any means.
I'm not surprised. I mean, again,
they're in the championship. Oxford's in the championship.
That's what I was thinking as well. When I said that,
I think they're League One. I'll double check.
No, they're championship.
Are they?
Yeah, they must have got promoted.
That's a better loan than I thought. Then I mean, even League One would have been fine for him. But I agree. I don't think right now is the opportunity for him, but I would love to see him. I need to see him on a season-long loan where he plays like 35 games and does something like what Jez did at Charlton. If he doesn't do that, then his future's not here. I mean, I was looking at the players today. I didn't realize, Killian Phillips, 22, haven't seen him all preseason. Malachi Bolton, 22. I know they've both been linked away with the club, but both of those guys haven't got any preseason, so they're probably gonna be gone too. But giving Jez a loan, Malcolm a loan at this point, I think is a very good idea because he's not going to get a chance to play, and they're better off he get a loan for a year. And if the worst case now we sell him to Oxford, if he does really well, we don't think he's going to make it here. If he does really well, bring him back, give him a contract extension, and to go from there. Kid's only 20 years old, so again, there's no way to give up on him quite yet.
And at the time when we were after him, Man United were also after him.
I know, big hype behind that kid.
There's a lot of hype around.
I think the biggest concern comes if he has another loan spell and he just doesn't play again.
Exactly.
Because I mean, he went to Molenbeek. When he was at Molenbeek, he didn't play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest thing is that he just needs to get somewhere where he can, like Patrick said, he needs to play games and see how he does over an extended span of game.
Let's see. If he moves to Oxford United, best of luck to him, and hopefully there's still something in him.
What was the other news you had? You said there were 2 bits of news.
Oh yeah, there's another news. There's a breaking news. Everton.
Oh yeah, O'Brien.
Due to sign Jake O'Brien. Is a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. Crystal Palace are due a minimum of 15% of any profit on O'Brien's next move to Everton. So it looks like we could be getting more money in. Let's try. I'm going to try to find out the price involved with that deal to calculate how much money could be coming in. But gents, let me ask the question: was it too early to sell O'Brien at the time that we did? Because I think that's going to be like the topic. Some people might be saying that.
I remember last year I saw him play in Chicago, and
Here we go. I thought it started already.
So he wasn't, again, under Hosty, he wasn't going to make it. So would I have liked him to have stayed for another year? 100%. But the way it worked out for the kid personally, it worked out for him great. Go to Lyon, did really well after the Molenbeek loan, and then to go to Everton is mad. I can't believe he's going to Everton, honestly. I like O'Brien. I don't really think he's that high quality. We're going to find out. I think he's a decent player. I think he was really good in France, but because I watched a lot of Lyon games because of the whole Texas thing. But Everton's a massive step up, and they have Jab Branthwaite. So funny thing is they're both left-footed center halves. So obviously this means one thing to me: Branthwaite's leaving. Because there's no way O'Brien and Branthwaite can play in the same team. They're both left-footed center halves, and they already have the guy from Burnley. So there's absolutely no chance that Branthwaite, at least they're going to have him there for a year to sit behind him, which they might do. But why would O'Brien go there to sit on the bench for a year? So This is going to be interesting, man. But listen, we'll take the money. But too early. We had Gahey, we had Anderson. He wasn't going to play for Palace.
I know Brian. He didn't want to sign a new deal as well.
Exactly.
And that was really the rock in a hard place. We were in a situation there wasn't much we could do because he didn't want to resign. But So we're due. Edmund Brack says we're due a minimum of 15% on any profit on this next
Wow.
move.
How much was it? Like 20 million is going for? It's got to be like 20 million, right?
I would imagine it's probably at least 20.
So that's gonna be at least 3 million we're gonna get. It's not bad.
So Jacob Ryan, medicals tomorrow, if personal terms are agreed, 5-year contract on the table. So they're investing heavily on him, 5-year contract. And he's ready to accept the 5-year contract offered. Medical test being planned and could be moved to Monday in order to prepare documents on Sunday. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So he doesn't reveal the price tag. I can see maybe someone else over in France tries to gives us a bit more information, but we debated this, didn't we, T? Not too long ago.
Yep, sure did.
I would have personally liked something higher than 15%. I would have. I feel like that's the one thing about it, especially with the price that was involved. Yes, he's a year left on his deal, but we done Texter a favor, in my opinion, sending him for £1 million. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing in today's market for a player that has got potential. Selling clause is there, but I feel like it could have been higher with the amount of money that he did go for. If he's going for this cheap, then we get higher selling clause. That 15%, it still doesn't sit right with me. That's where it stands. But I don't know what you think about the situation, Patrick, because me and T had this debate before.
No, I think it came down to the player. He didn't want to sign a contract. You just get what you can get. It's rare you get higher sell-on clauses than like 20%. It's very, very rare. You don't see them. So 15% is close to 20. Yeah, we did Texter a favor, 100%, but he could have gone to any other club and we could have gotten a less of a sell-on. He could have gone to he could have gone to Sheffield United, let's just say, as an example, without a sell-on clause. So to have him at least be within the quote-unquote Palace family and go to a club that we got 15% from. Again, I can't believe he's going to Everton. I'm not trying to be funny. I judge Brian a lot. He's very good in the air. He just broke into the Ireland national team. I'm just shocked he's going to Everton. If he's going to a lower club, I could understand. Everton, by the way, are signing some players. I thought they were trying to get sold, bro. What is going on with that club? How do they have money to spend when they don't even have an owner? You know,
they have any money.
It's wild. They can't. It's wild. They get a new stadium. Listen, man. We'll see. I want to see him play in the Premier League. I'm excited to see him play because I want to see his potential because I don't know if he's at the quality of Premier League yet. I think he can get there in a few years, but they throw him in there right away, man. Let's just see because that's an interesting one. But again, him at Palace was never the timing was all off. I mean, we had Gahey, we had Anderson, we were playing two at the back, we had Tompkins. I mean, timing was just wrong. I would love for him to get a chance, but again, that 1 year thing was a messed up thing because he didn't want to sign with us. So either you lose him for nothing or you get what we got, which is the 50%. So and then 1 million. So we actually can end up being maybe 4 million for him. That's not bad. Yeah, there you go. Tim, man. Tim is always on point with the money. I love Tim, man. There you go.
Calculate out. Ready.
Yeah, I agree. Take it, man. Take that money and run, man.
Like $5 million off of a youth player who had never played first team football. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess the positive is that it's another Palace product. So you just send that message out there. Oh, look, where did it come from? Palace's academy, actually.
Speaking of Palace products, David Ozo starts for Derby today.
Is it? Well, what are they playing?
Starting. Shrewsbury. They're playing Shrewsbury today.
They have another preseason game.
Another preseason match. But he's starting.
Where I'm heavy on him. I think he's gonna go to the championship, and they should make that league not his toy, but he should settle there comfortably. It's a hard league, but I think Ozo's got the physical ability to.
I'm actually really happy with the loan deal that we've done so far this year.
And also, Will Hughes, his contract runs out next summer. So the dilemma that I was put out by the Derby fan was, do we send Ozo your way end of the season, and then we end up getting Will Hughes on a free the following season? I was like, I'll be happy with that. I think that makes sense to give Ozo the chance.
Did Will Hughes come from Derby?
Huh?
Did Will Hughes come from Derby? Academy. He's academy.
Yeah, he started in Derby. Yeah. Okay.
And also, Hughes is not that young as well, so I think it could. Yeah, I mean, I think it could make sense in the long run. And I think that's if we're looking at pathway for Ozo, I think that's a normal pathway. We don't renew Hughes' contract. we give Ozo the opportunity. Ozo comes next season and as a player that's coming off the bench. Let's see how well he does in the championship. But if everything goes well, then Ozo is that next player to come up. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that does happen. Let's go through some questions before we wrap up. People, if you're enjoying it, like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you to every single one of you that's done that. And we won't be having the Palace news today. I think 2 streams is enough for Palace. We spoke about all the news as well. So, yeah. Jacob saying, didn't catch the game. Where did Ume play when he came? When he played down
right wing back.
side.
Right wing back, yeah. Right wing back, yeah. Hey, well, I mean.
Defensively, how did he perform?
He didn't. I mean, he have a lot to do defensively. He seemed like he's fine.
He'll have to adjust for sure, but I think he'll be fine as a listen. If he can come on and play right wing back like he did today, and then actually play it more because he's left footed. He can play left wing back. If he can cover both positions, Jesus, that is a bonus of I wouldn't even have thought of before the season started. So we'll see.
Exactly. Animal saying, does Ozo return game consistent minutes next season? I think that depends on how he does next season.
That would be the ideal plan, probably.
Yeah. And Rex is saying, will Bromley be a good place for Emre to be? Fingers crossed. I mean, T mentioned it, Patrick, yesterday, I think. I mean, players who go to Bromley, it's kind of, that's it.
I don't know. I hope not. I really hope that's not the case.
That was when they were non-league. Now they're in the league. That was when they were non-league. This is their first season in the full league. So for me, they've got a former Palace goalie as their manager. There's a lot of Palace connection. Obviously, Bromley is up the road. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of connections there. I think it's a good loan for him. League 2. Has to do really well again, kind of like Ozo has to do. But I think Imre in League 2 is going to get. He came from Chelmsford City, which was a non-league side. He's actually played like non-league football before. It's not like he came right through the academy. So no, I think that's a good move for him. I think he has to play well there and start. But I like the bike. Like you guys said, I like all of the loans we've had so far. Now let's see them perform. But I like where they've gone. Either Championship sides, League 1 sides, upcoming League 2 sides. The goalies are going to play where they're both going to play, Wimbledon, etc. I mean, Stockport's good for Adam Arola if he plays. Listen, I'm not been a big fan of Mark Bright loan manager job so far. Very hit and miss, but this season so far, fingers crossed, he'll hit on all of the loans. Because again, you've got Imre, Adam Arola, Ozo, Goodman, Whitworth. 5 out on loan so far with maybe a couple more to go out. Let's see.
Yeah, it feels like we're way more serious, and we spoke about this last season about loaning out some of these youngsters and not getting
earlier too. They can do preseason with those clubs. Exactly.
Quality, getting guys championship loans that's big. I think it's big for our players and their development.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think. What was the last time I had a championship loan? Who was it? Can't remember.
Who? Right.
I'm saying who was it? I can't remember. Plunge was at Lincoln. They were League 1. Eboe went to League 1. Adamola went to Coventry, right? That didn't work out.
Eboe went to Hull City.
Eboe went to Hull City, right? That was the one. That
didn't work out too. He went to Hull City, didn't work out, and then he ended up going to Mozambique after that, and it didn't work out.
And then because Coventry was the one for Adamola, and he never even played.
He started his first match there
and got recalled.
He actually played well, and then it just didn't work out. I think he fell out with that manager, honestly.
Loans are very, they're strange. You have to get everything right. The location, the manager, where they're going to play, how they're going to play.
How much?
So much, exactly. So much. It's I'm not saying, it's easy for Mark Bright. I think you do a better job, but I saw today, by the way, on the sideline for Crawley?
Yeah.
Noah Watson.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
He's on trial there, yeah. So I'm just shaking hands at halftime.
I just tried on the bench.
Yeah, that was him because I saw him shaking hands at halftime with a couple of Palace players. So good luck to him, man. That's a big step up for him to go from Palace Academy to League 1 now, right, Crawley? So let's hopefully make it.
League 1 now,
yeah. Hopefully he'll make it there. It's not that far, kind of local for that kid. He played my nephew. I know him. He's played my nephew in a youth board in England. So he's a good kid, good family, nice kid. I hope he makes it.
Hopefully. Look, people, we're going to wrap up here. It's only a preseason game. We're not going to do a whole match of the day analysis and go in and whatever. We spoke about.
Wait, play ratings. What time? You need play ratings today?
We're not doing a player ratings right now. But I'm excited to use a player ratings graphics as well. Not graphics, but
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah. But look, if you have enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe. We won't be back later on for Palace news unless something drastically happens. If you just joined us now, we spoke about the latest news that's come out today already with O'Brien going to Everton, and we're getting a 7 clause, and also a Bilway potentially going to Oxford United. So let's see what happens with that. Like, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching a replay. That's it from me, Patrick, and T. And until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.